as I scooch over to my left, your right. Welcome to another day of some nice NGS action. We're going to be having Rodney's Imaginary Friends versus Inting for Globes. And let me tell you, this is going to be an absolutely amazing matchup. If we take a look at the standings, assuming it's on the right page, and it is for once. Inting for Globes, currently in second place with 19 points, but they have quite a few less games than a solid school. They haven't lost a single series yet. And in sixth place, Rodney's Imaginary Friends, they also haven't lost a single series yet. These are going to be two undefeated teams going head to head today. Now, my current plan, or sorry, not plan, but prediction is going to be a victory for Inting for Globes. But that is just because they have played more games than Rodney's Imaginary Friends. And I've still kept that same win rate. Now, I do think this is going to be a very close series. And I think it's going to be the first real big challenge for both of these two teams going into the season. But now let's take a look at the map pick. So map pick was selected by the side of Inting for Globes. Or to put it correctly, Rodney's Imaginary Friends got first pick. So Inting for Globes got map pick. Or wait, I might have gotten that backwards actually. Give me one moment. Let me just double check. It's always harder when I'm not there for it. Yes, no, this is correct. Okay. So, Inting for Globes will ban away Battlefield of Eternity and Brax's Holdout. And Rodney's Imaginary Friends are going to ban away Dragonshire and Infernal Shrines. And their pick, drum roll please. Boom. Garden of Terror. So it'll be a pretty interesting pick here today. And Garden of Terror is one of those maps that I actually don't get to cast too often this season. It's not super popular. It's still a decently popular map. And it's definitely still played. Most teams know how to play it, especially because it is so similar to Cursed Hollow, with the exception of the two bosses. And obviously, the main objective is slightly different with the reward you get. But either way, this is going to be a very high intensity game, very high level game. Both these two teams play insanely well. Rodney's Imaginary Friends perform. Oh, I do have the teams backwards. Okay, so I had the sides right. I had the teams backwards. Or either that or they're just set up wrong in the lobby, but close enough. Let me just quickly slow off the teams then. But everything else I said has been correct. Okay, that's why I got confused. Obviously, you can't see, but in the lobby, they did swap sides, so that's kind of the issue here. But it is going to be Inting for Globes on the blue side and Rodney's Imaginary Friends on the red side. But like I was saying, this is going to be a really close game. Both these two teams, they're really strong. They play really well. They've been unbeaten. Rodney's Imaginary Friends did extremely well in the Nexus division last season. And Inting for Globes, I mean, most of these players have been at the top of NGS play overall for a decently long time. And they're definitely showing that they're not going anywhere. They're going to continue playing at the top, and they want to stay at the top. They're going to be a pretty fun game going forward. But now, we are waiting for one player to finish what I believe is an ARAM. I missed that early chat, but they're clearly doing something. And with that, I will like to give a little update on the channel. The sub badges are on the way. They will be there soon. And I am trying to get better with the predictions. I'm slowly trying to change my workflow so that I definitely do not forget, both to set it up and to keep it going. And as another aside, I will be taking the day off from casting tomorrow. I believe I now have something like 15 or 16 days casted in a row with at least one match per day where there are casts. Some days there haven't been any casts. But every day there has been one, I've been there. So, gonna be a well-deserved break. I'm gonna go grab a bunch of wings with my buds. Haven't seen them in months at this point. Really looking forward to it. Gonna be a nice night off. But I'm sure there will be very capable streamers there for you. But I will be back Thursday. Just taking the one day off. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere either. But what I am curious about is going to be the draft. This is my first heroic tier match ever since the patch has come through. Now, Drinko specifically, I've seen them play quite a bit of Lucio, and Lucio's definitely gotten changed the most. I know it's something Drinko plays, so I'm really curious if it's something that they're going to be playing today, if it's something that they're going to consider continuing on with it. And Pegatron, thank you for another gifted sub. Well, I should say thank you for your tier 1 sub and the gifted sub to Omster. And another one to Chromage. Okay, I'm really going to have to change the sub goal after we do get back into this. But very much appreciated. But yeah, you're still going, eh? Thank you for the gifted sub to Killadin Hots now. I believe this is 5 total in the channel now. Yeah, it says that in the chat. And 6 for Funds TV. Anyone lurking, you should chat as well. No, I'm just kidding. I really appreciate the support, Bagatron. And I'm hoping to make it worth your while. I've been trying to cast a lot. I've been trying to raise the quality of these casts. Right now, my lighting looks good, but that's just because it's good weather outside. If I do continue later on tonight, you'll see that the lighting's going back. But I will be improving that in late April. So hopefully I will have some good lighting setups done then. Also, eventually I'm planning on getting a stand-up desk so I can cast while standing up, and that will raise the energy during the hype casting. So going to be a ton of fun with that as well. But yeah, still waiting on one player. I don't know where they went. I don't know if they were in an ARAM or what's the dealio with all that, but that is kind of where we are at the moment. Just kind of trying to keep pushing forward and keep waiting for the player to show up. Now, if we are done soon enough, which at this point is looking less hopeful, if we are done before 7 Pacific or 10 Eastern, I will try and pick up another match. I will try and pick up the Team Happy Cloud versus Heavy Hitters, which is another heroic match. No one's picked it up quite yet out of the casters, but that'll only happen if we do finish early. And if we don't, I'm definitely not going to try to rush it. Whatever team I chose to cast first will always get my undivided attention, will always get my full attention. I may skip out on the interview, but that's the only little bit that I would do. Sub only chat is going? Yes. Pretty much is at this point. Every single person in chat has that. The classic waiting on an ARM. It happens so often too. I mean, I kind of get it. You don't think the ARM's going to go long. You think it's going to be like, it'll be a 7 to 10 minute one. And then it just ends up being the closest nail-biting ARM of all time. Like, I should be spectating that ARM match. It's probably going to be a lot more intense than any series we'll ever find on NGS. And that only happens when there is a game of NGS that is waiting to start. Now, if we really want to be those people, Rodney's imaginary friends, in theory, could try to call a no-show at 15 minutes. I don't expect they will, nor do I think we'll even get to the 15 minutes past start time. We're only 8 minutes in, as still has the exact same waiting time. What would be funny? Not really. I'd rather cast. That's one of those things. It's funny to think about the idea, but would never actually want that to happen. But some people do have to get going. Some people do start early in the morning. I myself start early in the morning, but luckily I'm on the West Coast, so I never end that late to begin with. But the 10th player did just join, so all of that kind of going nowhere. And the ready check has begun. We should be heading into draft momentarily, and we're going to have a pretty solid game number 1 here in Garden of Terror. Now, I'm sure we'll see the Dahaka. There's no question about that. Dahaka did get ever so slightly nerfed, but is still really strong, especially on these massive maps. And Garden of Terror is one of the biggest maps in the entire game. So, gonna be interesting to see if it's gonna be any good. If it's gonna be like super picked up by both teams, or what the priority is gonna be for it. Because it is one of those picks that's commonly let through despite it being powerful. And I think I kind of like that. That's a thing in HOTS. That there's these, that you only get 2 bans to start. You have to give away something. And I think that does make it a lot easier to balance instead of kind of getting lazy and just leaving the strongest picks just in ban jail. Like, they're just going to be banned every game. Doesn't matter if they're good. But either way, we are in game number 1 draft starting now. And like I said, there are definitely some power picks, but this is my first heroic cast on the new patch. I assume stuff like Dahaka is still going to be picked up. I know Drinko really likes that Lucio. I'm wondering if that's going to be something they aim for. I watched a couple of Snarfungus streams, and I mean, she's pretty solid as a DPS. But at the same time, I don't know if there's anything they can really ban out from Snarfungus. But yeah, the Lucio is going to get removed from Drinko right away. And since first pick is going to be on the side of Inting for Globes, as I just realized, for my predictions, I should have it on the right side. And the Diablo going to be the next ban coming out from Rodney's friends. And I should also start this prediction. And there we go. Get your Gambas in. We all know you need it. But the Lucio is... So it is interesting. So they do still see it as a threat. And we did see Lucio last night being played. And with the high 5 especially, the cleanses coming through from Nyx, it was an incredibly powerful hero. They unfortunately did end up losing, but the Lucio was incredibly powerful that game. Now Joanna going to be the second ban from Inting for Globes. That's a pretty major tank getting removed. And I'm not too surprised to see it gone. It's still one of those heroes that's very good at controlling his space, very good at engaging, once level 10 comes in anyway. And also very good at preventing people from capping the point, can poke them down from long range. And now Junkrat going to get banned away. And first pick for Inting for Globes, Dahaka is still available if they are looking towards that. But they're going to go with the Oriole instead. And again, Oriole did get slightly nerfed, and emphasis on slightly. Still very powerful, still very much a top priority pick. But instead of going for the Dahaka, Asmochad went for Blaze, and Snarfungus will lock in the Sylvanas. So they're going to have some pretty good siege, they're going to have some pretty good push. Blaze and Sylvanas are both extremely good at that. And Fuzz is going to lock in the Muradin, and there's the Dahaka we all know and love. Concept going to lock that in. Now, I like these picks so far from, honestly, both these teams. Blaze and Sylvanas, obviously very standard meta picks. Sylvanas, very good DPS, does a lot of damage, and depending on the composition, can even dive under the backline. And Blaze, very solid off lane, or most likely in the off lane, will be able to just shove out lanes, provide that extra safety with a bunker, and even provide that extra siege, also with a bunker amongst the other abilities. And now Phoenix is going to get banned away by Rodney's Imaginary Friends, and Anubarak going to be the final ban this game, coming out from Inting for Globes. And the Anubarak ban specifically is interesting to me, because, I mean, on one hand, yes, Anubarak's a very solid engage, obviously an S tier tank right now, regardless of composition, but at the same time, Anubarak is an extremely good counter to a select few heroes, such as Mephisto, or Chromio or Li Ming. Just very good at dealing with those kinds of heroes. I'm wondering if that's what that ban is for. But Rodney going to lock in the ETC, and Drinko going to lock in Brightwing. And that's going to be their big heals this time around. And now with the Soothing Mist, it is going to provide quite a bit of extra cleansing power with that AoE cleanse. But it is a decently long cooldown. But Juan Pablo going to lock in the Cassia, and Falstad for Albatox. Okay, so the Falstad makes sense. It does have a global. Obviously, is going to be very good in Garden of Terror. Able to push out. Does decent damage regardless of what talent build you pursue. Unless you do Lightning Rod. That's usually the only bad one. But even then, there's some niche cases. But the Cassia is very interesting to me. And I'm wondering if it was just for the blind, or if there's something specific they want to do with this Cassia. But we're going to have to wait and see, because I'm definitely confused. But last pick going to be the Genji for Rayvar. They're going to have that flex pick, and they're going to use it to try and jump onto the backline. I mean, Cassia and Falstad are definitely going to struggle into a Genji. Going to be able to just get onto the back and to be able to deal a ton of damage. Same with the Oriole, really. And they don't have a lot of easy stuns. All of them are skill shots. And that is something Genji's usually pretty good at dealing with. But either way, the draft is done. Game number 1's ready to go. So let's find out who will win. All right, and welcome back, everyone. Here we are in game number 1 on Garden of Terror between Inting for Globes and Rodney's Imaginary Friends. Now, as per usual, the players decided to swap sides for whatever reason, so I'll just have to kind of go with that. I'm not sure what the reason was. I'm sure there was a reason. I know especially at this level of play, a lot of players have preference, whether they play left to right or right to left.
4, 3,
but either way, we are getting started. And already an interesting move coming out. And there it is, the pause. We got one today. Don't even worry. So yeah, the pause is always going to be in place. The pause is always going to be ready. And it does seem like one of the players is going to be lagging right now. So hopefully we can get that sorted. But the streak continues. Genuinely, this is now 8 casts in a row. Or 8 days in a row, I should mention. We have had one clean series during a double cast. The second one of the day. I don't remember which game it was. It was some Div game. But that's still going to be 8 days in a row where we do have those pauses coming through. Let's get the music on. That's what it's for. Let's close the Discord because they still had the sound for that from last night's interview. I'm not in any Discord channel, so it shouldn't be a problem, but better safe than sorry for stuff like that. But now let's analyze those first few seconds actions without giving away anything for those that are not on the stream. Yeah, the heroes have been picked. I guess I can talk a little bit about the talents because that is something that obviously both sides can look at. But right now it's some pretty standard stuff. Tissue regeneration for the Dahaka. Most talents still haven't been picked on the side of Inting for Globes. And Searing Light locked in for the Oriole for Cav Kivar. And the Searing Light, Ray of Heaven, also deals damage to enemy heroes in the area equal to 30% of the energy consumed. So, especially with that, level 16 talent, I believe that is, we'll be able to deal quite a bit of extra damage with that. We'll definitely start adding to that scaling into the late game. Now, on the side of Rodney's Imaginary Friends, a Might of the Banishing Queen, just going to be the Withering Fire, attack speed, and spell power thing. Also pretty standard. I actually don't know the main meta picks for Sylvanas. I don't know if she has a lot of variety in her possible builds, but I know that this is one of the few that can definitely be played basically whenever. Block Party locked in for Rodney's ETC, which gives nearby allied heroes a stack of block as well. Interesting. I always thought it was just for the ETC. See, I'm learning. That's what these pauses are good for. Me reading level 1 talents and slowly understanding what they actually do. I need to play more ARAMs. I think I can learn heroes a lot better if I just mess around in ARAM a lot. The games are shorter. I can get a lot more value out of it. Agile Dismount. That's the usual Genji one. Obviously going to provide quite a bit more distance. Going to provide a bit more pick potential for this Genji. And then Greater Polymorph. Okay, so that's a pretty interesting one. A lot of the time, you do see the phase shift talent, especially on a big map like this. But it is going to be the Greater Polymorph, which increases the Polymorph's range by 30%. This is one of the few talents I did know. I have been playing a decent amount of Brightwing recently. And if Brightwing does hit an enemy hero with the Arcane Flare center after polymorphing, then it reduces the cooldown by 7 seconds and pretty much gives the mana back. That's actually a really major change in the talents. Now, it is one that is still taken often, especially in games where you want to have that guaranteed lockdown, especially that guaranteed safe lockdown. And into stuff like Murden or Dahaka, they try to run you down. It's easy to use defensively, but if you're the one that's trying to walk into them, it can be pretty dangerous because the drag can grab you, the Stormhammer can grab you. So having that extra distance on the polymorph can definitely help a lot. And considering those are the only 2 engage tools, if you take that, you do become an actual engage potential for your team on the Brightwing. But now again, it will lower a little bit of the value from the phase shift. Won't be able to use it quite as often. Won't be able to provide as much healing with the phase shift, but with everything else should still be fine. But now we are still waiting for the player to come back, and the odds of us getting that back-to-back cast are slowly going down, but should be fine. even if we don't get it, it'll be a fun cast to have for today here, as we are just waiting for one player to get back into the game. As I get any updates, obviously I will let you know, but as of now, nothing's changed. Everything is kind of the way it's been. They're trying to figure it out because they're robots, apparently. That's the current update. Literally, the players just posted that. Yeah, I'm not even sure what to really talk about. I guess I can update my sub goal while doing that. I was going to do that between games, but may as well do that now. Hooray! Sub goal's complete. Ta-da. And once again, let's do current goal +1. That is the way I like to do it. Oops, I set it to the wrong thing. I was going to set it to 20, and then I forgot that Ebagatron has been very generous and has given out a ton of subs today, so we're well past 20 now. Man, this is just something for me to do at this point. How did the prediction go? Another thing I could remind people, I will be giving away a t-shirt, an NGS t-shirt, or any other item in the store that's of equal or lower value. And all we need is 100,000 viewer points raised. I believe they're called honeycombs. I think so. I made that name like years ago. I've been streaming for way too long, to be honest. But if we get 100,000 points, we'll be giving out that t-shirt. So anyone who wants to be participating in that, anyone who wants to get that raffle/giveaway going, let's be sure to submit your points. And any points that do get given, I will try to do it in a way where it will continue the goal. So if we don't reach 100,000 within a month, whenever you do, that's when the giveaway will happen. I need to see how that's possible because Twitch goals are weird sometimes. But we'll see. We'll figure it out. But regardless, it is going to be... Oh, actually, with Hoku's points, we're at a 25% completion. I believe it's only been a few days as well, so doing quite well so far. And again, considering I do cast basically every single day, I'm going to continue doing that. Let's get that going. Let's get them t-shirts out. But the player is restarting everything, and hopefully after that, they will be good to go. It's definitely been a decent while since the pause has commenced. We're almost half an hour since game start, and the players have just left the gate when the pause did come through. I'm not sure when the pause happened. I believe there is 10 or 15 minutes time. I've heard both. I've seen both at this point. I'm not a referee. I'm just a person yelling at a screen. So I'm not going to comment on the rules, nor is it my place to. But my job is to inform you, and I inform you the little that I do know. And I always try to do my best with it. But obviously, if both teams are okay with delaying a little bit, pushing it back a bit further, we just go with it. Yeah, hopefully we will be back in game soon, as I'm basically out of tea now. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I pretty much exclusively just drink tea. I guess it's Tokibi fun facts today. I think in a given day, I will maybe only have like maybe one glass of water. Other than that, I'm just chugging green tea the whole day. But I reuse the tea leaves. So it's like kind of lightly flavored hot water more than tea after the first teapot is done. And I normally have 1 or 2 teapots per day. Apparently with green tea, it's okay. It does lower blood pressure. So if you're one of those rare people that does have really low blood pressure, it's not good. But for everyone else, it's pretty fine. As long as the caffeine doesn't affect you too much. And caffeine barely affects me in the slightest at this point. Yeah, hopefully the player will be back in. Otherwise, I may have to get into this game myself. I am one of the better offlaners in the game, as long as you don't look at literally any other offlaner in the NGS. I think I literally, like, Hoku would actually love me if I was in this series, if I was in this game, because I basically only play Artanis and Sonya. And Sonya would definitely get banned for me to force me on Artanis. So I would play that, like, every single series. Just all the time. Like, I tried playing Leoric before, and I was so bad. I kept dying every single time I tried to use the right block. I don't belong in the offlane. I belong either on... I belong on squishies. Either in the hard carry role or in the healing role. I've been trying to get into healing. Even bought some gems for HOTS just to start learning a bit of the Brightwing, a bit of the Anduin. I have a pretty low level account, and I usually play a lot in a month, and then I don't touch it for a few months, which is really bad if you're trying to farm gold to unlock heroes. So I don't actually own that many heroes yet. The rules are 10 minutes total and 3 pauses, but total time cannot be more than 10 minutes. Okay. I'm pretty sure we're already past that, to be completely honest. But again, if the teams aren't saying anything, if they're not calling it out, not going to be a big deal. I think a lot of teams wouldn't bother, though there definitely would be some that would. I mean, at this point, I just want the series to go. Blazer to Haka offlane. So... I don't own Dahaka, but I did used to play a lot of main tank Blaze, especially when I first started playing the game. So I have been considering that for offlane, but I mean, for the most part, I like to play heal anyway, and that's usually not very contested in Storm League, so I get to play healer decently often. Either that or Vala or Falstad. I think my most played is like Li Ming, Mephisto, Vala. I used to be a true carry player back when I played in NGS. But I don't have the fingers for that anymore. I don't have the reflexes for that anymore. Healer is a lot more chill. I'm given a lot more time to react in a lot of situations, not all. And obviously having better reflexes would make me a better healer, but it's also the position I can play where it matters the least. Blaze is your most played in NGS, but Artanis will always be S tier in your heart. Yeah, I mean, Artanis is so much fun. I had a Storm League game last week, I think, where I was playing stacking Artanis into a Rexar, and all he wanted to do is just keep throwing his bear at me and just poking me out of lane. So it was just nonstop wailing on the bear. My entire team was flaming me because for 15 minutes, I was not part of any team fight. I was just 1v1ing the Rexar. They're like, you realize we're losing. You realize we're losing. And I'm like, yeah, trust me, trust. And then I got that triple strike talent. Showed up at level 16, one hit their healer with just one small combo, and all of a sudden they liked me. Who could have guessed that would happen? It was pretty funny though. Yeah, as expected, we are still in the pause. Hopefully we'll get some update soon. Haven't seen anything quite yet. So we just... it seems to be the caster curse. As soon as I mention it, we do get an update. They've tried restarting everything, and now nothing is turning back on. So, yeah, there's that going. I wonder if this game's just going to end up being a forfeit. I really hope it isn't. I really wanted to cast this game. I was looking forward to this. They even rescheduled, and I told them to keep me on. We may have to have a remake. They said they may have a sub for the remake if that happens, but we'll have to see. And yeah, they're even saying they're going to have to get an off-roster sub or a forfeit if their main sub isn't there. So potentially a sad story today for what I've been honestly really looking forward to as a series. If this is the case, if it is a forfeit, by the way, I will pick up the game at 7. So we will get some NGS action over on this channel today. But if not, that's basically how it's going to be. Yeah, and the player that is missing, just to give some context, is from Rodney's Imaginary Friends. And the rule from Inting for Globes, or that they gave, is they said they're not going to rush it. They're not going to force a forfeit unless they really cannot get any players. But they said their only thing is they're not allowed to bring in Cure. Anyone that isn't Cure is allowed. Oh, and now they might be back. Yeah, a lot of updates coming in the past few minutes. But we also got an update that their sub is not around, but their main player might be back. So huge shout out to Inting for Globes. Because again, like technically they could have asked for a forfeit already. But I mean, I think it's, especially in a series like this, in a tournament like this, where there isn't any money on the line, it's good to have this kind of good sportsmanship, but never to take away from teams that do have to surrender or that do need to force a forfeit just because, you know, late nights are late nights. He's going to be reduced to finger puppet interpretation. Oh, yes. I'm trying to think if I have anything I can entertain y'all with, but I don't have that much. I'm actually moving in a couple weeks, so most of my fun stuff has been put away. I have a few costumes. I think I have my pickle costume here, but obviously not going to go digging that out of the back of the closet where it rightfully belongs. But we are getting word that it is fixed. They're just getting back into the game, and then hopefully we can get started soon because I've run out of stuff to talk about. I don't know if y'all have gotten tired of hearing me. For those of you that haven't already muted me, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's literally just an issue of internet and Wi-Fi and all that nonsense. Kind of been the theme of the week. I don't think I've ever had to fill so much dead air time in my entire casting career, which outside of NGS, I have been casting a decently long time. Mostly League of Legends, a little bit of CS and Dota. And I think one game of Rocket League just that one time, which was so weird. Okay, so the reconnect is being attempted. If it doesn't go through, we would have to remake. But supposedly, all of the players are here. So we should be getting started soon. I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah, because the way it works is if I'm hovering onto them, I can tell if the player does manage to get back, because otherwise it'll say the hero name above their name instead of the player name. You never get tired because that's what makes NGS special. I appreciate that, Hoku. And I mean, yeah, I've been watching quite a bit more casts, though I'll be honest, whenever I watch a cast, I lurk. So if you don't hear from me in chat, that's probably why. But I've been watching a bit of Bahamut this morning. I've been watching Ohmster. The Sound's been doing a decent amount of morning replays. And then who else? I try to catch Peldor and Dark Knight. And by the way, for those of you who haven't watched Dark Knight streaming, definitely take a look at that because they've been working really hard to improve their cast and they're making really good headway. And like, it's honestly always super refreshing to seeing someone really trying to put in the work. And just got word we are going to have to remake. So yeah, that's a thing. So the remake will be coming through shortly. But hopefully it'll be quick. Hopefully they do the draft quick. And I also just learned that if you're trying to enter a game that isn't finished, it gives you the option of enter back or nope. I don't know who knew that, but now you all do. Yeah, Starfuckus is apologizing to me. All is good. All right, but hopefully we are now going to have some actual NGS action getting started. Obviously, we're going to have to remake the draft, and hopefully this time around it works. And I do need to keep an eye out on the ad timer. We should still be good because I have 3 snoozes and they're still a little bit over 20 minutes. But I will do everything in my power to make sure no ad goes off during the game. It is something... Or actually, thanks to Evectron, basically everyone here is subbed, so... I guess shouldn't be a problem, but I'll definitely try to make sure it doesn't happen anyway for any of those that are lurking unsubbed. Or don't even have a Twitch account. There are people like that. And then just waiting for Asmo Chad to join back in. And then we will get going. This has been a really fun first cast of the day. You know what? That's just the way it goes sometimes. Those technical issues, I mean... Okay, so talking about some esports history. Now, I don't know how many of you have been following. How many of you followed League of Legends way back in the day? I'm talking season 2, season 3. But there was one specific series during Worlds that comes into mind right now. And it was a series between CLG Europe and I'm trying to remember what the they're just gonna do a quick play start. Are you ready? Yes, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense. Why not just do it straight from quick play? Skip out the whole draft phase. Okay, sorry, I was just really confused because all of a sudden the quick play stuff went out in front of my face and I just had no idea what was going on. But we are getting back into game right now, so I will even let you see the beautiful loading screen that we do have. Whoa, cheap viewers! I've always wanted those now. I don't know why I got so excited for that. I've just been getting really excited over really mundane things recently. Could not tell you why. But either way, hopefully we are now truly in. It is going to be Inting for Globes versus Rodney's Imaginary Friends. We are on a Garden of Terror. Now, the fun and interesting thing about this series is with all the pause, we are already about 30 minutes in. And we are now just about to leave the gate. But right now, it looks like all the players are here. Asmo Chat, I'm keeping a close eye on you. And interesting start from Inting for Globes. Now, they actually changed their strategy between games. And I'm wondering if that's just because potentially they thought maybe someone on the side of Rodney's Imaginary Friends was stream sniping. But with the start they're doing, they definitely were not. But Inting for Globes were originally sending 3 players down to the bot lane, but now they're sending 3 up to the top. Juan Pablo just going to be poking a little bit with the Lightning Fury. And it is Lightning Fury build. It will be Gathering Storm build coming out of Albatox. But the issue is when you're trying to push away from the Sylvanas, you're not going to be able to push quite as well because they do have the black arrows available. Is there no music? Okay. I think there is. It's just very quiet. Okay. But now Concept going to be matching Asmochat over on the bot side. But now all the players are trying to move top. And Rodney has a good flank. Going to look into the brush. Going to get the power slide. But Karkavar, they did not see that they actually caught them over in the brush. So won't be able to continue pushing out into that. Juan Pablo will be okay. And now they're just going to be trading back and forth. Just auto-attacking a little bit. And Fuzz will typically win out of those trades just because of the trait. Going to be able to heal back up to 75%. We'll be in a good spot from there on out. Right now, both teams just kind of pushing the lanes in, doing a little bit of poking back and forth. Decent amount of stacks already. And it's actually perfect storm. So that's pretty interesting. So every basic attack will increase the damage of Stormbolt. And my guess is that they're going to go with a Stormbolt talent build. And what that means is eventually you will be able to absolutely shred through bosses, shred through structures, if you're able to get all those stacks. But now, Inting for Globes, they're looking for an aggressive play. Rodney will spot them out, so they are aware that they're trying to invade into the jungle. Snarfungus will be finishing off the siege camp in the meanwhile, as Sylvanas will do. And there's a bit of trading going on in the mid lane as Ravar fighting with Albatox. And will be the victor as Albatox will be forced to Hearth. But now there's some trading happening over the top side. Rodney starting to get decently low. Will get hit by the Stormbolt. And with a couple more hits, will get healed by Drinko. And with the extra polymorph, will survive at single-digit health. Rodney. That was a really close start to that fight. But luckily will be able to survive. At least lucky for Rodney's Imaginary Friends. But now Fuzz gonna be caught out a little bit, but not enough DPS. Should have Dwarf Toss soon. Face Shift gonna come out for Ravar, as Ravar gonna be boosted up by the Pixie Dust and will be able to just back off. But now is the siege camp still pushing into the top side, and this entire top side will get cleared away. Drinko is gonna try collecting onto this XP, as Rodney's also here. They could try playing aggressively. Fuzz and Albatox is behind, but now Karkavar just gonna keep getting autoed by Rodney. And with a power slide, with a little bit of extra DPS, and actually a decent amount of damage landing on a Karkavar. But at the end, no one will go down. Both sides just going to continue on with their wave clear. But that is the fort starting to take damage. Now, they did get a bit of a push on the bot side, also with the siege camp. Not quite as much damage. Only took down the top cannon tower. Not going to be able to take the bottom one. But now they have the drag, and it is onto the Genji. But with the deflect, with the dash, Rayvar will be able to just go through. They should learn what the dash is called. The Swift Strike. I will be able to just back it out. And because of that, Fuzz does have the inner pressure here. Will be able to take the first hit as the Tamer Strike will land into the drag. And first blood for Inting for Globes. And pretty interesting catch right there. It was a pretty close play. And I think the Rayvar was just trying to get in the way, trying to stop them or slow them down and lower the amount of pressure and lower the amount of tempo. But that one detainment strike from Cav Kavar is going to be more than enough for the kill. As Albatok's also going to get pushed out on the top side. And they do have a full bruiser camp in this top side. Snarfucking's going to get poked a little bit, but does have the extra of magic armor. Now Rodney is in the middle of 3 players, but with it being the ETC, not going to care too much. But Draco and Snarfungus trying to fight 2v2 in the top side. Juan Pablo starting to play for it, and we'll get the blind, and we'll get so much damage. There's a couple more autos, and Snarfungus will go down. Juan Pablo able to get the last hit onto that. And now in the meanwhile, Rayvar is trading with Fuzz. Fuzz just gonna try to run down, but the Swift Strike will be able to just back away. And with that, that's going to be another 1-0 in favor of Inting for Globes. Now, Asmochat will be able to get a bit of a push happening in the bot side. We'll be able to clear away this extra wave as well. And the level gap is still pretty small, so there's nothing too much to fear there. But Inting for Globes have definitely been fighting extremely well to get that 2-0. They have the extra push on the top side, and with Albatok's finishing off this wave, it'll be even more so. But now the Haunting Wave just going to get used to clear everything else. Fuzz starting to get pretty low with the Polymorph. They'll have more than enough damage, and they will get themselves the first kill on the side of Rodney's Imaginary Friends just before the seed spawns. So they will be able to get something back for themselves. They will be able to get the first seed of the game for themselves, and now they can just turn that immediately into their own siege camp. Now Albatok's poking down Rayvar as Rodney is walking forward. Will just be barrel roll away. And just like that, the play is reset. Now the Bruiser camp was not taken yet by Inting for Globes. They will collect it now, and they will start their push in the bot lane. Now the bot fort also starting to get decently poked out by these minions bit by bit as Mochad has been able to deal with it. Now the next seed is on the bot side, and with these Bruiser camps pushing in, could be a potential for a play. But now Drinko just getting run down by Fuzz. Fuzz shouldn't have enough damage, and level 10s are there for both sides. They have the stun. They're still looking for Fuzz. Fuzz going to jump with the Dwarf Toss. Do they have anything else? The Swift Strike is coming through. They have the Wheel of Gare for the silence. And with the Power Slide, Rodney able to get the final hit. And now with that, the seed is going to respawn. It is 4v5 on the map. However, Albatok's continuing the push in the top side as Rodney's still trying to press in forward. They already know they could get the seed, but now they want to take something else as well. They want to go for the siege camp. They want to try and get some kind of structural pressure happening on the map. And I believe this siege camp does go to the mid lane. And now they're ganking towards the bot side. Asmochat is going to get healed up. They have the phase shift. And now the mosh pit onto the healer. They will take out Cav Kavar. And now Juan Pablo hit with the extra. Rayvar trying to DPS. Got to use the deflect, but the guys force them into the wall. There is still that safety in the bunker. And Snarfungus will jump away, but will get stunned for the Haunting Wave can fully come across. Juan Pablo 150 HP, but will get healed back up to full. Luckily had the well available. Juan Pablo would have been in a terrible spot otherwise. But at the end of the day, it's a 1-for-1. The drag is going to land, but with no one there to follow up, will be the end of that play. Now, overall, I think Inting for Globes are the victors because during that play, they managed to take down the fort. And right now, they are in a pretty good position to take this seed as well. No one's really there to block it out. And it doesn't look like Rodney's Imaginary Friends even really want to contest onto it. But they are going to jump through, just try to be a pain. Rodney actually even going to jump forward to get the interrupt. And with the Pixie Dust, Rodney will be able to run away. They have the Polymorph. Snarfungus just dealing damage with the Shadow Dagger over top. I'm even going to zoom out. This fight's really starting to zoom around. But they don't have the Heroics coming out for a little bit. Phase Shift is going to come through, and they will be able to get onto that ETC. It will be the 1-0 for Inting for Globes, and with that, I believe that will be the end of the play. Concept and Albatok's should be able to take down the seed, and it is going to be 2-for-1 now in terms of the objectives. And the Garden Terrors, if Inting for Globes are able to get one more, will be able to come out. Now Rayvar is looking at Kavkavar. Kavkavar has not landed the Tamer Strike, and Rayvar will use the deflect, will get a bit of damage down. And now the Crystal Aegis does come through, but Snarfungus still aiming for the play and will be able to finish them off. And Juan Pablo still trying to play onto the backside, trying to jump onto Snarfungus, but will be able to, but now Rayvar will trade it back. And with the Haymaker and the last two range minions, Fuzz getting the help from the minions. And Rayvar's in a bad spot as well. Gonna get hit by the Stormbolt and gonna get finished off. Rodney trying to support, but it will show up just a little bit too late. And with that, Inting for Globes are going to be able to continue pushing in. And like I said before, I'm curious what these talents are going to be, but it's not going to be that Stormbolt talent yet, unless it is level 16, but I thought it was earlier on. I don't know the levels yet. I just know the talents exist, and that's good enough for me for now. But Inting for Globes, they're slowly but surely starting to build themselves up a lead. Almost a full level up now, and this is going to be the 3rd seed, and no one's there for Rodney's Imaginary Friends. I don't think they can contest this. The Garden Terrors will be spawning, and they will be pushing it on all 3 lanes. Now, the structures are still decently even right now off the map. They do have the top lane fort down right now for Inting for Globes, but their bottom fort is in a bad spot. But now, Snarfungus and Rodney all here looking for Albatrox. Albatrox will use the Gust, and with the power slide, with the extra pushback, Albatrox is in a pretty bad spot, trying to run away, has the move speed, will get hit and will get finished off. But now the Brush Stalker has come through, and they do have the Mosh Pit, but do they have enough damage to deal with Concept? Now, Concept is going to get hit by the power slide as well, but they just need to back away. They need to start dealing with these Garden Terrors. Rayvar is already here, but that's 4 members over to the bot side. No one's there in mid lane, and that will be a mid lane 4 taken down. Now the Isolate with the Haymaker, but the Phase Shift will come out for Snarfungus. Snarfungus is still alive, still trying to trade back. The Tamer Strike will land onto Rayvar, but with the deflect will be fine. X-Strike over top. They're able to take down Concept. Fuzz will follow, and that will be a delayed 3-0 for Inting for Globes. Now, what is the cost for this? Inting for Globes will be able to take down, for Rodney's Imaginary Friends. But during that, Inting for Globes, they still had the Garden Terrors pushing in all 3 lanes. They were able to take down just that mid lane fort, and they were also able to take down a good chunk of that mid lane wall. But now Starfungus looking to play aggressively, but will back off for now. Rodney just going to dismount Kavkavar, and now they're fighting for this Bruiser Camp. Rayvar just in the backline, trying to deal a little bit of damage. Will use the Swift Strike to get it. They have the Power Slide, and they are on to Kavkavar with the Crystal Aegis. But now the Lightning Ball just jumping around. Juan Pablo dealing so much damage in the backline, and Concept is here with the Brush Stalker, and they will have to leave the ETC behind. And unfortunately, the Bull will be the one going down. Now, it is 8 for 8 total kills. We are almost dead even in terms of experience, but it's still 1 extra fort in favor of Inting for Globes. Now, there's not much they can pressure on the map right now, and that is also part of the charm of Garden of Terror. There's no bosses except for the seeds, except for the main objective. But they will be able to get the Bruiser Camp, and with that Bruiser Camp, they could definitely look to just take down this bot lane fort. And it looks like that's exactly what they want to do. Concept just going to tank it out for now. Drenko just going to pull Concept into the Polymorph. But now they have the collapse. How much can they get with the Kavkavar? In a bad spot. Will use the Detainment Strike, but Snarfungus is there on the backline as well. And Kavkavar does not have Crystal Aegis for 1 more second. And will get taken down just as it comes back up. But now the Deflect is buying some time. X-Strike as well. And Rayvar is able to jump away. Albatrox with the Gust able to land it just under Drenko. But Drenko will be able to jump out with the Blink heal. And now Rodney is the one that's getting jumped upon. Does have the extra healing coming out. The Phase Shift will land. Same with the Jet Propulsion. And they're able to disengage. And it's a 1-0 in favor of Rodney's Imaginary Friends. But that's the interesting thing. It's a 1-0 for Rodney's Imaginary Friends. But the map pressure definitely favoring Inting for Globes from that play. They had the stronger fight. They had the extra HP bars at the end. But now Swift Strike used onto the backline. Rayvar just jumping on a Juan Pablo, trying to trade back as heavily as possible. Just continuously dropping in. And with the deflect, they're looking back. They're onto Juan Pablo. Juan Pablo is getting pretty low, trying to blind everyone. But with the power slide, they're able to get the kill. But because of that, Fuzz able to lock in the seed. And they still have the push in the bot side. Concept going to be here as well, just charging onto the gates, onto the walls. And Almachad going to sidestep. And with the stasis, the Jet Propulsion also not going to land. And actually, Bunker going to get utilized just to be an extra pain. Deflect is going to come through, but Stormbolt from Fuzz is going to be able to cancel that. But they did defend their base. They did defend their bot side. Rodney looking for a potential flank play, but Unfortunately, not much is available for them. And
Seed is about to
in terms
spawn.
of fighting, Rodney's imaginary friends is definitely keeping up, but they are losing ever so slightly on the macro. And every single time they try one of those plays, it just gets harder and harder for them. But Kavar is getting jumped on. They have the polymorph. They have the DPS. The Gust going to cancel the fight for now. And that will force out the Gust and the Crystal Aegis. They didn't burn any major cooldowns to get that play happening. That was just through positioning on the side of Rodney. Now they see Fuzz walking forward. Gonna get polymorph. Gonna get stunned. But the Detainment Strike is going to prevent any further follow-up. Snarfunk is still DPSing on Fuzz. And Fuzz gonna get hit by the Wailing Arrow and actually burst down. The entire team believed in the play. The entire team walked forward. And with the DPS, with Ravar and Snarfungus, they had more than enough to get that play. And now Rodney looking in from the side. They have all 4 members remaining from Inting for Globes on the top side. But 5 strong right now for Rodney's imaginary friends. And they're close to that level 20. They're close to those Storm talents. And now they will clear away this seed. They will be able to get that going as... Let me just do that real quick. Sorry, just trying to delay the ad so it doesn't start. We should be good now. But now Rodney will walk into concept and we'll just kind of zone concept off the wave. So that's going to be a second fort now going the way of Rodney's imaginary friends. And that is going to help them quite a bit there. They're no longer as far behind. They do have their level 20, but that will be matched on the side of Inting for Globes before they're able to get too much value out of it. They will steal an extra camp. Asmachad going to be able to finish off their own siege camp. And they're just going to kind of clean up the map, get their waves pushed in. And considering their bot and top lane are now going to be passively even with Inting for Globes, I think it's a very good time to just collect the camps, try to get the waves in, and start playing for the seeds after that. Now, the downside they do have is this mid lane fort is still up, and even part of the wall is up. And it's definitely going to lower the amount of angles that Rodney's imaginary friends can start playing for here. But it is a strong position for Inting for Globes. Now, it's only the 2nd seed, so they don't need to get it. But, I mean, you definitely don't want to give up an extra seed when you don't have to. And Rodney's imaginary friends, they've been doing well in the team fights. This could be a very strong opportunity for them to try and get the play. But now they do have the jet propulsion onto Fuzz. Just going to be a bit of poke as Kavar has scaled level 20. Super scary into that Oriole, especially the more and more stacks. The well becomes so deep. So much healing potential coming out of that Oriole. And now the fight. It definitely looks like they're about to start brewing. Rodney has a very good position. Looking at Albatox, looking at Fuzz. And Fuzz is going to jump over. Will start getting hit. And Rodney just going to zone everyone away from Fuzz. And they're just bursting him down. And with the Wailing Arrow, we'll have more than enough. And now the extra dash. Kavar in the middle of everyone will get canceled onto the mosh pit. As the extract will come through onto Kavar. But they're still going to be able to zone them off the play. They're still going to be able to zone them off of the seed. And with the Bruiser Camp here as well, they're going to be able to get a very solid push here. Bruiser Camp plus they will get their 3rd and final seed to spawn the Garden Terrors. And now Raver going to lock that in. Rodney and Snarfungus going to lock in the Bruiser Camp. And this is where the push comes in. And with this, so to speak, double push coming into this bot lane, this will be scary for Inting for Globes. And the black arrows are going to be available for Snarfungus. Now, I don't know if they want to use them for the fort or for the keep or if they want to use them for the wall. Gonna have to see here. Now they will immediately get to work on this wall. Gonna start clearing it out. And we'll get a good chunk of it immediately. Black arrows have not been used, so they are saving it for the keep. They still have the Garden Terror available. Now the seed immediately gets killed, so the keep will still be active. But with the black arrows, it will not be. So this is just a regular push. Their bottom keep definitely doomed. Or as they say that, they're able to push them off. Now, does the Garden Terror have enough damage to finish it off? Doesn't seem so. So they will be able to defend there. But that's going to be an imaginary keep. The push still isn't there, but it's incredibly low. And now the push is starting over onto this mid lane forward. Ravar just going to use the Swift Strike to get away. Detainment Strike from Kavar almost landing. And if that would have hit, Ravar probably just goes down there. But that's how you play Genji. You play on the limit, and Ravar has definitely been doing that today. Just been an absolute pain to deal with for Inting for Globes. And more than just a pain, has also been an absolute threat in these fights. Now the mid lane fort will go down, and they're starting to road to the bot side. But Fuzz has the backside. But they have spotted it out. They have gotten the stun. They have the silence polymorph as well. Wailing Arrow to finish it off. Perfect CC layering coming out from Rodney's imaginary friends. And they're pushing in. They've already gotten one. It is the main tank. Detainment Strike has not landed as well. And it doesn't look like they're done here. They've already gotten the keep, but they are positioning forward, but they do change their mind. They don't want to go for the core. I'm guessing they were just trying to fish for a play, and Albatrox does get hit by the face melt, but the power slide, unfortunately, barely not in range. And now they're going to start sieging onto this mid lane wall. The black arrows have been utilized. Haunting Wave just to make sure everything gets disabled there. And with the Shadow Dagger, makes it a lot easier to spread those black arrows out, and the wall will go down. Now the next seed will start spawning soon over on this top side and deep in the jungle of Rodney's Imaginary Friends. So this will be a difficult one for Inting for Ghost to contest, but should be a pretty safe one for Rodney's Imaginary Friends to pick up. And now they will clear away the siege camp. They will pick up the health orb. And now they're going to start walking forward and could potentially look to get another play going. Now, these seeds will take a while before they can get another set. So they may try to push even without it. But it would be difficult because, I mean, Inting for Globes, they have the same talent here. They have the same possibilities on the map. And Garden of Terror doesn't have a boss on it. And without a boss, it's hard to push in. Especially because stuff like the Bruiser camps and Siege camps, they will give a little bit of extra damage, but it's not going to be a lot. And you kind of really have to position aggressively to try and get any value out of them. Much safer to just go back, try and take the seeds, and with the third one, try and get a much bigger, much more valuable push. But now, Inting for Globes, they are walking forward. They want to fight, and Fuzz looking for the Stormbolt. Not going to be able to land it. And Rayvar is keeping an eye out on them. The seed has spawned now. But the longer they wait, the better this is for Rodney's Imaginary Friends. They have camps in the top and bottom side, passively pushing in. So they can even play slowly and just kind of let them back away and not even deal with it. But now Rayvar does get jumped upon. Fuzz could be in a bad spot, but with the Swift Strike, with the Cleanse, Rayvar will be okay. Just trying to DPS a little bit on the Fuzz. Now they have the Stun, they have the Polymorph, and they have the Mosh Pit into the backline. X-Strike dealing so much damage. Same with the Silence, Wailing Arrow onto all the backline. And they're all somehow alive. Now the Wind Wall going to keep Rayvar away. And Rayvar actually gonna go down. Drinko could not heal. Now Snarfungus as at 100 HP will get finished off. And they do have the Ice Age, they do have the Silence, and they're able to take down Rodney as well. And finally, Drinko will go down. And what an amazing play from Inting for Globes. What started as Fuzz getting caught out turned into a 4-4-0 in favor of Inting for Globes, and they're immediately going to the bottom side. They want to immediately continue this pressure. They want to immediately try and get something. Now, I'm wondering if they're going to try to end here or if they're just going to go for the keep down with Asmochad. I think it will be pretty hard to end. Asmochad will be able to buy a decent bit of time. Will have that jet propulsion. Kavkavar also has to back out, getting decently low, but now they're jumping onto Asmochad. Asmochad getting low, gets hit into the wall with a Haymaker. And now it will be that 5-0. It will be that position where Inting for Globes could try to keep pushing forward. Now there's still 10 seconds before Rayvar's back up, but they are aiming for the end of the game. They're pushing forward. They do have that Stormbolt talent. Now, it's not going to have that extra structural damage, but Rayvar's here. They're looking for the defense. Rayvar is ready. Snarfungus is there as well. They don't have any of that extra DPS over top. But now Snarfungus just DPSing onto the backline, trying to get in their way. Rodney is going to be here as well. Now the phase shift coming through. Snarfungus and Drinko, they're able to trade onto the front line, but now their core is still taken down to about 20% HP, 15-10. They're trying to survive. They've killed 3, but their core is gone, and Inting for Globes somehow managed to take game number 1. And what an absolute back and forth game. Inting for Globes had the lead early, and then Rodney's Imaginary Friend, after a couple of very big team fights, were able to take the lead. But unfortunately, it was just the one fight. Inting for Globes, as soon as they got one victory, it was a 4-0. It was a big victory. They immediately booked it to the bot side, took the keep, took Asmochad, and then took the core. But with that, we're going to go to a short break, and when we come back, hopefully we'll have just as an exciting game number 2. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back, everyone, for map number 2, Volskaya Industry. Now, predictions went through, and there was a lot of people predicting that Rodney's imaginary friends would come out on top. But Inting for Globes, they were able to bring it back, get themselves the win. But who knows? Maybe game number 2, that's where you win all your points back. That's how this works. And it is a zero-sum gamble, so no house edge. Now we are immediately getting started into the second draft. Pretty short wait between the two games. Always a fan of that. And the bans are beginning. Now, going to be interesting to see who gets selected here. If they're going to keep the same picks and bans. If they are, they will ban. Nope, it'll already have a difference. Oreo going to be banned away during the first pick. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Oreo, very difficult to play into. Super powerful as a hero. And we saw how much value those heals, especially in the late game, were coming out. I mean, Cav Kavar was just absolutely making sure that if someone was caught within range, they were not actually caught. They were just tanking, regardless of who it was. But now Johanna's still going to be the first ban coming out of Inting for Globes, so that's not going to change. I believe they did Johanna and Lucio last game, but Ronnie's Imaginary Friends, they've already started changing their bans. They banned Junkrat, and I forget who they banned first. I think it was the Diablo. Yeah, it was Diablo Junkrat. And they're going to leave the Diablo in. But it's also important to note that Rodney's Imaginary Friends have first pick this time around. And the Sylvanas is going to be the ban instead for Inting for Globes. So, Diablo is still available. Lucio is still available out of the heroes that were banned in game number 1. And I'm wondering if there's anything else they'd rather take instead. Dahaka's still up. Blaze is still up. There's a lot of really good, solid picks that are available for both these two teams. And it will be the Diablo locked in first for Rodney. So the Diablo immediately locked in. Haven't actually seen a Diablo played in a while. And now Blaze going to get locked in for Concept. And I am noticing, at the very least in this Heroic Division, at the very least in this series in the Heroic Division, that Blaze is starting to come back into the main meta. Dahaka is still there, but definitely went down the list of priority, at least slightly. As Vala is going to get locked in for Juan Pablo. And with the Exterminator, Vala is going to be quite a bit more powerful into Diablo, but a few patches ago was lowered, did lower the amount of max percent HP it will deal. So Diablo will be slightly safer, but will still be getting hit quite hard. Assuming that is Creed of the Hunter Vala, though I believe Exterminator is taken regardless of build. And actually, Dahaka not going to get taken at all. It is going to be Yrel and Rhaegar. Now, Yrel also one of those offlaners that's definitely starting to gain in popularity. Deals a lot of damage, and with that Ardent Sensors, very, very tanky. But now Rhaegar not going to be able to just jump, skip, and dash around, as the Genji will get banned away by Inting for Globes. I totally understand why they'd want to get rid of it. Did not look like they were having a good time. They did win the game, but Rhaegar was definitely a huge pain to deal with. And specifically what I actually want to shout out Rhaegar for is not only were they a pain on that Genji, which as a Genji, that's what you're supposed to do. But they were also a verifiable threat. If you left that Genji alone, they would definitely be able to kill onto the backline. So totally understand why they'd want to get rid of that. And Maiev going to be the final ban coming out of Rodney's Imaginary Friends. And with that, Garrosh and Stukov immediately going to get locked in for Fuzz and Cav Kavar. So they have a bit more of an aggressive team comp this time around. Garrosh going to want to play forward. Stukov always good on any kind of aggressive composition. They will be lacking the cleanse, but Garrosh is able to self-cleanse depending on the talents taken. So that could definitely help out a lot, at least in terms of the engage. And not too much lockdown yet from Roddy's Imaginary Friends. There is the knockback from Yrel, Diablo as well. But this is going to change things. Chromie for Snarfungus and Falstad for Rhaegar. Now the Chromie's interesting because they do have the bunker to prevent a temporal loop play, but when you take the Stukov, there's no cleanse. Now typically slowing sands is the talent choice, but I think in this situation they could definitely look towards those other options. Now their final pick for Albatox gonna come in, and it will be the Medivh.
Games begin.
And that does change things a little bit. If there is that extra protection, it is definitely something that Albatrox will be able to provide, and does make it a little less worse to have that play going. But with that, the draft is complete. Both sides going to get ready for this game number 2. Inting for Globes currently up 1-0. Can they get their domination, or can Rodney's imaginary friends start their comeback with this game number 2?
Commence combat preparations.
And we are live. Game number 2 of this best of 3 between Inting for Globes and Rodney's imaginary friends. We are on Vol Sky of Boundary, and Inting for Globes currently lead 1-0. At the very least, they've continued their streak of winning at least one game per series, but they're not going to be happy with that. Until they get this domination or this 2-1 victory, they will not be satisfied. And now it really is going to be on the side of Rodney's imaginary friends to try and bring this back. Now both sides are bringing all their members straight to the mid lane. And it will be that 5v5. Now, interestingly enough, it is going to be frequent flyer talent. So it will be that move speed, or that auto attack build coming from the Ballstad. Will be able to deal quite a bit more damage as they get later on into the game, but does need time to scale, does need time to get those stacks. As Fuzz looking for the backline, will be able to get the Wrecking Ball into the stun as well. But now Asmochad able to get the stun into the wall with the Righteous Hammer, and Juan Pablo gets taken down decently low even. As Raver does get caught by the Groundbreaker, but no extra follow-up. Albatrox is going to get knocked to the wall by Rodney, but once again, just going to get used for a Poke Snarf Fungus. Lands an extra Sandblast. And the offlaners have already met their match. It's going to be Asmochad versus Concept, Urel versus Blaze. And now in the meanwhile, in the top side, they're looking for a little bit of a trade. And Inting for Globes definitely do have the inside track here, but Ravar just immediately going to go mid lane and continue trying to get some stacks. Now, I think it might have been a bit better to stay in the top side. There was definitely more minions available there. Would definitely get a little bit more value if that is the only goal. But now Ravar already up to 2 extra damage. And it is Creed of the Hunter, by the way. I kind of suspected that. Typically, whenever there's stuff like the Urel, like the Diablo, auto attacks are definitely more value than the Hungering Arrow build. Now, Asmochad slowly but surely starting to win into Concept as they do get the, what is the trait called? I should learn the name. The Pyromania does come through. And with a Jet Propulsion, is going to be in a bad spot. Will get stunned up. And now the Overpower onto Concept, but unfortunately, they did have the treadmills. Gonna be difficult to play into that. Both teams did collect their turrets, but now the Biotic Emitter also going to be going the way of Inting for Globes, and they're really using that teleport to move around the map quite a bit faster. Now Rodney is hiding in the brush. Will get spotted out, but they won't spot out Ravar. Unfortunately, before level 10, not able to play aggressively, but they are looking for Albatrox. But they do also have that extra protection. They have that extra slow. And now the teleports is coming through, and Fuzz is there. Will get dismounted, looking for Drinko. But with the extra stun, with the overpower, Fuzz not going to be able to keep pressing forward. But Drinko's still going to go down. The autos and the turret able to deal more than enough damage. Now Snarfunk is going to get hit by the Wrecking Ball and will also get finished off by Juan Pablo and Ravar just for good measure. And it's a 3-0 in favor of Inting for Globes. Out of nowhere, they were able to bring out the fight, and they were able to win it pretty hard. They're over a level ahead of Rodney's imaginary friends, and they're just going to immediately start pushing forward and immediately going to start looking for these structures. Now, the control point A will be unlocking, but typically on this map, most players will not start pushing for it too hard. It's something to do while you're in the area rather than something to play for. But they got a decent chunk of damage over onto the top side. Level 7 now going to hit for Inting for Globes. And now they are going to be on the point. It is just going to be Fuzz and Juan Pablo. I don't know why I was trying to combine their names and it was not working. I wasn't even attempting to do that on purpose. But they will get started on it. Will immediately also back away as Fuzz does need to go to the bot and collect a little bit of soak. And will get taken over by Cav Kivar. And now with that, they will start clearing away. The level 7 advantage is there for Inting for Globes. But with it, they weren't really able to push too far forward as Rodney looking for Juan Pablo. But again, with the protection, it is going to be safe. Does get hit by the Dragon's Breath. And now Snarfungus looking for the extra play. But with the teleports, Juan Pablo will be in a safe spot. And already at 19 stacks for the Arcane Rift, by the way. Getting that 40 before you dying is super important on that player. But now Fuzz could be in a bad spot in the middle of all 5 members. Going to get hit by the Dragon's Breath. Will knock back Asmochad. Asmochad will try to back away and will be safe as Fuzz survives with 300 HP. Now they're still trading back and forth as the Lurkin Arm comes through, just trying to help the zoning. But the zone is retaken by Rodney's imaginary friends. Both Fuzz and Concept here, so difficult to walk forward. And now Ravar trying to be in a good spot, but will be forced to use the barrel roll away as Asmochad. Just going to knock everyone backwards with a Righteous Hammer. And that will end that play for now. But Inting for Globes, they were able to take control of the point. So they will be continuing to take down the percentages. On top of that, they also have the siege camp pushing into the top side, going to take one of the cannon towers. And will start pressuring over in these others' lanes as well. They have Concept just slowly but surely poking down this gate. Albatox doing the occasional cheeky auto. There's now Ravar getting jumped upon, and so much damage actually will get finished off by Albatox. As another kill going over to Inting for Globes. It is 4-0. The Protector is now up. Now who's going to drive it? It will be Albatox driving and Fuzz in the gunner seat. And now they're going to start their real push. They're aiming immediately for this mid lane. And they're going to continue walking forward. Now, they're happy with the wall. They don't want the fort. They just want to take both these walls out. Now, this one's already been pretty damaged. And I think this is where they could try to commit for the fort. Not to take it down, but at the very least to get some poke damage onto it. And now with the bullets, they are available. They're going to be able to take a decent chunk of damage off of this. And the Protector's super nice because not only can you damage structures with it, but you can also kind of attack onto the enemy at the same time. Asmochad going to use the Righteous Hammer, knock them into the wall. But it is level 10 advantage right now for Inting for Globes. Now Fuzz starting to get decently low, but with the Lurking Arm, will be able to just back away. The Protector will go down, but level 10 advantage is still there for Inting for Globes. Now, do they want to press it over in this top side? Right now, it doesn't seem like they want to too much. But they actually, never mind. They are walking forward. 4 members strong. Fuzz looking for the play. Will get immediately hit into the wall. Will get slowed down, but will also be able to just jump over it. And now it is going to be slowing sands. So what I said earlier does not matter quite as much. But I think with the Medivh, it's definitely a much more difficult play. And now Fuzz gonna get hit into the wall. And with the teleport, not going to be able to use it. They have the Gust. Lightning Breath just going to get used for zoning. But Leyline Seal coming in from Juan Pablo, going to stop the play as Lightning Breath resumes after the Leyline. And that will be the end of the play. Inting for Globes able to get the extra push, almost getting caught out on the way out. But between Medivh, well, mostly just Medivh, and between Fuzz's natural innate tankiness, they are able to get all their members out. And once again, they will be able to take this biotic emitter. And Albatox can't even pick it up. They need someone else to do it, and it will be Fuzz. So now they do have 2 extra sources of healing for this next team fight. And now they're pushing through mid lane. Just this one ranged minion. Let's see this hero Concept going to try tanking a little bit. But unfortunately, that minion will go down. That was our friend. But now they are aiming towards this top side. The fort gonna get taken down to around a 6th HP. Very specific fractions we're getting into at this point. Which only goes to show how close they are at finishing this off. And now with the extra Hungering Air, with a couple more autos, they just need a little bit more, but unfortunately, they don't really have anyone that's good at sieging, but they do have teams that are good at fighting. And now Albatox is going to get knocked to the backside, but does have the biotic emitter coming through. They will zone everyone off of it. Jet Propulsion not going to land. Will get hit a little bit by Ravar. Ravar just trying to auto back on a Fuzz, but the top lane fort will not get defended. Inting for Globes will be able to take that down for them. And now level 13 is going to be coming out shortly for Inting for Globes. They are chasing on to Asmochad, but with the Righteous Hammer, we'll be able to prevent any kind of aggressive play. And it is also the Ardent Defender, the Ardent Defender Yrel. Not the easiest player to try and pick off. Super tanky. Has a lot of innate armor, has a lot of innate tankiness. Definitely not someone you could look to burst down. But now the siege camps do get collected by both these 2 teams, so that's going to be neutralized over on the top side. And now the new control point is coming out. And this time it is top, which is a bit better for Rodney's imaginary friends. That's the natural lane that'll push into them. So already being in the area will make it a bit easier to contest onto the objective. Now Fuzz looking to play aggressively, will get slowed. And now Fuzz is actually kind of stuck in the mid lane. It does get protected and will be able to take the teleport out just before it expires. Fuzz could have been in a pretty bad spot there. But all calculated, all planned. Fuzz will be okay, and looking aggressively, will be able to get the pullback onto Drinko, onto Snarfungus and Rodney. And once again, we'll be able to just jump away through the teleports. Lightning Breath gonna get utilized, but with the teleports, not gonna be able to accomplish too much with that. As now Fuzz trying to walk forward. Both sides now have their level 13. Rodney's imaginary friends have been able to collect it. And now Asmachad looking for the play. They have the Righteous Hammer into the wall. Almatox gets hit by all three. And now Rodney is kind of stuck. We'll use the Shadow Charge to get away. And the Rain of Vengeance lands on the 2 as well. They have the silence on Rodney. And Leyline Seal going to split up the fight. And Asmachad is going to be the first to awaken, but is also not the best target. Now Ardent Defender is going to get thrown out. Same with the Gust. And the will end the team fight for now. Rodney's imaginary friends, they all survived, but they did get taken down decently low. Now the push through mid lane is coming through. They have the passive push in top stand, and someone has to deal with it. So it's just little bits of poke coming through onto these structures. Now we'll take a moment to look at the stacks, because one thing that Rodney's imaginary friends do have going for them is their fall stat does infinitely scale. 23 damage on the frequent flyer for now. And now they're still playing forward on the side of Inting for Globes. They will use the Extendo Arm. And now Fuzz starting to get decently low. Rodney gonna play forward. Gonna get knocked further back. And now Almatox is here. Righteous Hammer just gonna be used to separate Cav Kavar. And now they have the protected Fuzz in a really bad spot. Will get finished off. And that's gonna be the first kill going over for Rodney's imaginary friends of the game. And now they're gonna be able to get at least a little bit of a push back. They're gonna start aiming towards this mid lane wall. And they don't have good siege on the side of Inting for Globes, but Snarfungus is on that Chromie. Will be able to poke from pretty long distance. Same with the Hammering from Ravar, but it is the auto attack build, so the Hammering not quite as powerful for the sieging potential. And now on top of that, they'll also be able to get their first biotic emitter of the game. And that's going to be a pretty important active during the fights, and will also be a little bit of experience from taking that neutral. However, it is getting traded back slightly over on the bot side for Inting for Globes. And I haven't brought this up yet, but the Arcane Rift is fully stacked. So Juan Pablo is safe to die now if they wish. For these team fights, will not be losing any of those stacks. Will be in a good position to keep pressing forward and still being a very solid DPS in these team fights. Now, Creed of the Hunter, 93 stacks. 30 of the stacks just reached by Frequent Flyer. And that will be all for now. And now the fortification camp is getting invaded upon by Inting for Globes. Level 16 is hit by both teams, so this is an even talent here. But with the Wrecking Ball, going to be able to zone them away. Jet Propulsion will land. The turret will go to Concept. So they will be able to steal that away. They will even burn a Heroic. As now Rodney getting slowed down, getting poked out. Fuzz just trying to get in the way as Ravar trying to buy a little bit of time. And with the barrel roll, will be able to get back to safety. Rodney trying to get some kind of play happening here as well. Could look for the play, but with the Lurking Arm, difficult to walk forward. The Lurking Arm is really lasting a while as Ravar even puts down the turret. There are 2 teleports behind here. Ravar in a pretty bad spot, but still just poking them out. Almatox already used the vault. That could be the play, but instead they're going to knock Fuzz back. And with the Wrecking Ball, Rodney's in the back line, will get burst down. Leyline Seal already splitting the fight in 2. Ravar will get the Ancestral Healing. Will be fine for now, but they're still jumping. Almatox has more than enough damage, and will come back. Will reset the aggro, riding over Snarfungus. One Marauder will be more than enough, and Almatox could look for more, but the entire team just ran away. Rodney's imaginary friends, they don't want to deal with it, and it's a 2-0 for Inting for Globes as the bot lane fort also goes down. And there's still 25 seconds before any DPS is back up for Rodney's imaginary friends. They don't have a lot of threat. They could keep pressing forward. They're going to take this bottom wall, and they're going to look to take more. Now the keep is available. They're going to start walking forward. The totem actually going to help by a decent bit of time. Don't underestimate that move speed slow coming out of the Rhaegar totem. And I don't think they'll be able to finish it off, but even taking it down to half HP, which at the very least is what it looks like it'll be, going to matter quite a bit for them. Now the turret also going to get used for that little bit of extra poke. Cav, Kavar, and Fuzz going to run away with the teleports, and it's down all the way to a quarter HP. This is a really good position to be in for Inting for Globes. And now with that, we're going to have a short lull in the play. Inting for Globes, they got the advantage. They got what they needed with it. And now they can go back to taking these waves. Now the siege camp will at least get secured by Rodney's imaginary friends. They will be able to get that for themselves. And they will even be walking up top. Just going to be able to clear this out a little bit. start catching up in Soak because they're about a level and a half behind now. And I'm guessing once level 20 comes out, Inting for Globe is going to be super powerful. They're definitely going to try and push this in. But for now, they do have 2 of their camps available. The Biotic Emitter is back up. They can just play slowly, play safe, take that turret, get the siege camp just to speed them up towards that level 20. And once they have the level 20, things will be a lot easier and a lot safer for them. And now the fortification camp is going to go down. Rain of Vengeance does come through and actually going to get stolen away by Rodney. Now, the experience did go towards Inting for Globes, but the turret is in favor of Rodney. And now Rodney looking to play forward. Fuzz going to knock them back, and the turret immediately going to get utilized. So overall, at the very least, Rodney's imaginary friends will be able to keep the turret out of the hands of Inting for Globes. But now level 20 is here, and they could potentially look for a play. Fuzz is trying to trade onto Raver, but with the slows from the totem, not going to be able to run them down. Concept is on the side. Will get hit by Rodney with the Shadow Charge, and Jet Propulsion will land, but again, it's only on a Rodney, and Concept starting to take a decent amount of damage. Will come through with the bunker. Now the bunker is immediately going to get destroyed. One more auto. Now Fuzz also getting low, but does have the armor, and now they're on to Juan Pablo, but Rodney is unstoppable with the Lightning Breath on the conveyor belt, but will get burst down. The Gust is going to try separating the fight, but Rodney's already finished off, and wow, that third Dragon's Breath almost finished off Albatrox. Juan Pablo with the clutch protection coming out. And now the push is really going to be coming in heavy and strong now. At the very least, level 18 is there. They have the Unraveling for Snarfungus, but Snarfungus is the one getting jumped upon, and Albatrox looking to get this kill will be able to finish off the keep, and Snarfungus should follow, will get finished off here. And now Jet Propulsion does land. Draco is slowed pretty heavily and will get pushed away from this fight, and Asmochat is also going to get hit, has the extra healing beacon with the Biotic Emitter, and with the Ardent Defender will be able to back away, but it's still 5v3. It's still 20-18. And Inting for Globes, they're looking to end this game number 2. They're pushing hard towards it. And now they're going to start autoing onto it. It's already at 90% now. Their tank is back. Rodney is back. How much can they get with this? Albatrox trying to trade back a little bit. And they even have the siege cap pushing on the top side. Do they want to keep playing forward? Do they want to keep trying to end this game now while Snarfungus is gone, while there is no Chromie? The shielding is starting to come back only a little bit, but they will be able to take it down just a little bit lower. It's at 78%. Fuzz looking for the aggressive play. Will get hit back, but with the protection, with the Gust, Fuzz is fine. Rodney may have gone a little bit farther, and Albatrox will, in the meanwhile, finish off the Urel. And now, once again, it's 4v5. Leyline Seal is going to be able to catch on to one. Lightning Breath is going to get used, but they do have the bunker. And Cab Kavar just autoing over into the backside. Juan Pablo, Albatrox hitting onto Rodney. Rodney going to get finished off here. Now it's another 1-for-1, but it's 2-for-1. But the core is at 5%. Few more hits. Albatrox will finish it off, and it's a domination for Inting for Globes. And what an insanely close matchup. What an insanely close game. And because of when it ended, we will be able to do a double cast. So let me just let the teams know real quick. Let me just also ask them if they're okay if I do a quick interview. But what an incredible series. And yeah, I mean, that's all I can really say. Both these two teams were fighting back and forth, and they were able to get the extra win. We are going to have an interview coming up right now with Concept. So give me one moment to set that up. Then I will give your predictions back. But let's do the interview first. Alrighty, let me just finish getting set up here. Nope. Hello, sorry, I was trying to dodge you there a little bit. Alright, well, I am doing a double cast, so I will try to make this a bit quicker, and I apologize for that, but
no problem.
Yeah, congratulations on your 2-0
Thank you.
Now, for those of you not aware, I'm here with Alba, and sorry, what's your in-game name?
You can just call me Alba. It's fine.
Alba? All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, congratulations on your 2-0. And what did you think of those games?
I thought they were pretty good. I'd say the first one was a little bit spooky at times, especially the last team fight before we went core on the. Which one do we? What was it? That was the garden game. Yeah, when they got a blink 3-man mosh pit. I thought it was Jover for a second. But then I believe Cav had like the clutchest Aegis on me, and then I was able to get the gust and turn the fight. And then we just ran down the core. So other than that, it was pretty spooky.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty nerve-wracking game, and I will say, despite that elongated pause at the start, it was very much worth watching. Now, what were the comms like? What was the mental state? Because, like you said, game one especially was starting to look pretty dire in a few moments. Were you able to keep a cool, calm, and collected brain before bringing the game back, or was it like we have to bring this back and just kind of played through adrenaline?
I think we're mostly just like, all right, we just got to group as 5 and hope we get a good gust, because that's kind of like any fall set comp. You're just hoping for the good gust at level 20 to win the game. And I mean, we got picked a couple of times before we could get that final gust in team fight, and we didn't even really get a great gust at the final team fight. Just they burned all their cooldowns and didn't really kill anyone. And then we had like a full Ariel Reservoir heal, and it just ancestraled our whole team, and kind of just swept the fight from there. But yeah, like I think people get caught off guard by the ETC crowd surfer and blink, so because you can just come out of nowhere and mosh your whole team. But we pulled through.
Yeah, and that's what matters. I mean, those angles definitely are pretty hard to play into. But here's an interesting question. If you were to play a best of 5 against Rodney's imaginary friends, what do you think would be the final scoreline?
3-0.
No hesitation. No. I love it.
No, I got faith in my team. Our drafts were on point today.
All right. Well then, because I do need to try and shorten this just a little bit, and I apologize for that once again. One final question. Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans out there? Any shout outs you'd like to give?
Oh yeah, to my fans out there, thanks for watching. Thanks for keeping tabs on me. Thanks to you, especially waiting like a straight up half an hour. Kind of just sitting there doing nothing probably.
That's been the theme of this week. I've had a pause every single day in the last like 8 streams.
So yeah, thanks for hanging in there and casting. Thanks for the team for showing up today. And thanks to NGS for hosting everything.
All right. Well, thank you for the interview. And once again, congratulations on your domination.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, with that, I'm going to quickly get set up for this next series. So give me one moment. We'll be back very quickly, though.